Welcome to the Dreams by Any Means Motivation Station. I'm your host, Ed Doctor. Hope everybody is having a good week so far. Enjoyed your Juneteenth break and all that good stuff, and getting ready for the 4th of July break. But just hopping right into another series of summer separation today. For y'all, I just got done with my jog. It's blazing out here. We just got some miles in. Didn't have the best day, but nonetheless, we still here. We still breathing, like Mom say. A day above ground is always a good day. So part of the series today I want to talk to y'all about is actually inspired by a book that I'm reading, and just also inspired by where I think I'm currently at right now, and it's called Created to Hear God. And that's the name of this episode is trying to hear God. And I bring that up because, as I mentioned in some of these previous series, it's talking about adjusting and accepting, going through the pain, surrendering to the process, all the ins and outs of summer of separation. One of those most important things, whatever your higher power is that you believe in, or whatever spirituality practice that you practice, we all should understand, even if you don't believe, but just to put it out there, there is more of a divine, power that's beyond this earth and beyond the society and world that we're in every day. So whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Buddhist, whatever you are, I'm just saying this episode is talking about trying to hear from that higher power, and definitely during a season when it may be a lot of noise and a lot of distraction and a lot of clutter. And also we got to be careful too, because as much as we do want to hear from God, just know that the devil still works too. And sometimes we might be thinking we're hearing from God, but that might be something coming from the devil and the enemy. So first and foremost, I just want to say, part of this whole summer separation series is to really take a deeper dive into ourselves personally and professionally, to just get the best results that we can produce out of ourselves, even the results that we may not even think or may not even know that we're capable of. So if you listen to a lot of this series, I'm talking about that isolation, that separation, that dedication, that commitment, and some of those tough seasons that we're going to go through and part of this summer separation to get to where we want to be. Now, it's June 25th. Summer started. It's funny because I Googled. It said first day of summer is the 20th or the 21st. But I always thought it was the 21st. So we were 4 days into the summer. So whenever y'all started y'all summer separation, the reason I started it before the actual summer started, just to get that energy out there, to get some of those guidelines out there and get ready for that summer. We all know when the weather break, things are going on, cookouts, family events. Everybody want to go to Miami, Jamaica, Brazil, all that. And that's cool, right? I'm never knocking that. I like that. But it's sometimes in the season, man, we got to just take a pause, back up, relax, and put all that energy, all that money, all that time, all that focus and all that, bullshit, and transfer that energy into something more productive. So I say this to say, when we're talking about created to hear God, right? The first thing is what? How do we hear? Okay. So some people may think you're going to hear right. And it's funny because I'm reading a book. It has some funny things that I think all of us. Some of us think we just going to hear this deep voice from up above, or we going to get this clear thing that's going to come to us, right? But sometimes God speaks to us through people, through things, through situations, through signs, through prayer, through sometimes having that burning feeling that comes to your mind, that comes to your spirit, that you really can't shake. Sometimes that's us hearing God. Now, the other thing is that we often could say we want to hear God, but then when we hear him, we want to close our ears up. We want to put on them noise cancellation headphones. We like, nah, I'm not hearing what I'm trying to hear from you. You know what I mean? And then the third thing sometimes is just that we might not be hearing nothing at all, but that just means that we're not doing enough spiritual, spiritual warfare. We're not doing enough deep diving to really hear what the higher power is saying. And, I say that because, this podcast, man, it's all about motivation. And, shout out to my boy Lou. I've been getting more transparent with y'all. We all battle through so many things. We going through life and life get tough. We want to have a drink. We want to roll up. We want to, go do negative things that we shouldn't be doing. We want to go back to revisit the past to try to think that's going to help shape the present and the future. We do all these things because we're human, right? But it's going to come a point where we're going to have to really stop, look, and realize what's best for us and what's not best for us to really become the best version of ourselves that we want to be. So moving forward in this series, and as I'm talking about creating here God, I think the first thing I want to task y'all with It's not going to say, hey, you need to go to church every Sunday. It's not going to say, hey, you need to read these 4 scriptures by next Sunday. Nah, the first step is getting on your knees and praying. Getting on your knees and praying. Some people pray out loud. Some people pray silent. Some people pray in prayer groups. Everybody got different forms. Some people pray in the shower. It's whatever it is to you. But start off with that prayer and just, asking God, like, man, I want to hear you. I want to hear you. I want to hear what you have for my life. I want to hear the plans that you have. For me right now, I feel like I'm just in a place of like nothing is moving. And when I say nothing is moving, it's like things that I'm trying to do, it's just not moving anywhere. In the midst of it, I'm being grateful for what I do currently have in front of me. But I just feel like everything right now was a kind of pause. Everything is uncertain. It's just like one of those weird spaces. And what better time to hear God when you just got these question marks in your head and you don't know what's next and you don't know what's going on. And, I've learned through experience and even through these past couple of days, man, the prayer, sometimes can really change your mindset. The prayer can also allow you to start really, really, really speaking out loud your wants and your needs that you're asking for God to put in front of you for you to hear. So another thing I would say, too, although this summer separation is talking about isolation and it's talking about separation, find a person, family, friend, classmate, associate, workout buddy, whatever. Find a person that you can lock in with on this journey to kind of help you hear God more. What I like to call them is that, I always pray for God to, put people in my life that are maybe a little more spiritually experienced than me. Put people in my life that can put me on the things that can make me grow in that area. And it's really important because, we all know, man, it's not an easy thing, trying to be disciplined and move in a certain way. If we're looking at it through biblical terms, or move in a certain way, if we're looking at it through, what the Bible and what the word says on certain things and how to apply to our lives. And as I'm saying this to y'all, like I keep saying, I'm not coming off as no preacher, no perfect person. Far from that at all, trust me. But part of this summer separation, why I'm doing it, is because I'm trying to get in that space. You know what I mean? I ain't saying like I'm trying to be a preacher in like a year, but I'm saying I'm trying to just get in the space more of walking a life of where I'm letting God lead everything that I do. And that means from employment, that means from community work, that means from this podcast, that means from finding a spouse, starting a family, everything under the sun. And I'm learning that in this season where there's just so many question marks and we not hearing them, you just got to keep knocking. I forget the verse. No, y'all don't, I don't want to get the wrong verse out, but I remember my grandmother saying one of her favorite verses from the Bible. I can't think of it, but it just talks about, if you knock at the door, he will hear you and he will answer. And I think that's part of the created to hear God process is like, y'all just keep knocking on that door and asking him. I know for a fact God speaks to me through people because that's one of my daily prayers, and it's been one of my daily prayers for like the past 8 years. So, he speaks to me through people, through different signs, through a lot of different things. And like I said, I'm guilty of it. We sometimes don't want to hear him. We sometimes ignore what he's saying. But, yeah, that book too, I will drop it in the description. Created to Hear God. I'm not finished reading it. But I've got 40, 50 pages in. So it's an easy read though. But long story short, it's been a good read for me. And I'll give you a takeaway from it, which I read today in a coffee shop. It said, as we were created as people, there are 3 things that makes up us as humans. That's our body, that's our soul, and then that's our spirit. Those 3 things right there, your human body, your soul, and your spirit are the 3 things that you want to emphasize on correcting and protecting as you move forward to be the best version of yourself. So, y'all know, like I always say, hustle plus faith equals success. Y'all tune into the next episode, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. And make sure y'all get on y'all knees and pray for y'all take it down tonight. All right.